Hello and welcome to GameRules.com. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Push, a push your luck card game for 2 to 6 players. Let's dive in and learn how to play. Out of the box, you will get a 120 card deck, a 6-sided die, and an instruction pamphlet. In Push, there are 3 types of cards: number cards, switch cards, and roll cards. Number cards are worth points, and they are worth the value of the number on the card. A player will win the game by collecting the most points. Switch cards will change the direction of collecting rows for that turn, and we'll see how that works in the demonstration. Roll cards force a player to roll the die, and the die will determine what color that player must get rid of. Again, we will see how this works during the demonstration. To set up the game, make sure you thoroughly shuffle the deck of cards and place it face down in the center of the table. Place the die near the deck and choose a player to go first. On your turn, you will draw cards one at a time from the deck, and you will create up to 3 columns with the cards that you draw. When drawing cards, you may not put a card in a column that already contains a card of the same color or number. So now that we have a column started with a blue 6, this green 1 could go in the same column, or the player could start a second column. A player may continue to draw cards until they choose to stop or until they choose to push too far. Again, with this yellow 3, it could be put in the first column, the second column, or it could be used to start a third column. A player may not create more than 3 columns on their turn. This purple 6 cannot be placed in the first column. It must be placed in the second or third column. At the end of a player's turn, that player and the other players at the table will be able to choose one of the columns to collect. Cards are worth the point value on the card, and players are trying to collect and keep as many points as possible, because whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. As you are drawing and building these columns, you are essentially creating choices for other players. You're creating point collecting opportunities, so keep that in mind as you distribute the cards in the column. This green 1 can go in the first column or the third. Notice this is still one player's turn. We have a green 5, so our green cannot go in the first or second column. It must go in the third. You can keep pushing or drawing cards until you choose to stop or until you push too far. For this first example, let's go ahead and just have the player stop. They have chosen to quit drawing. They don't want to risk drawing another green card and pushing too far, and we'll see what happens if you do happen to push too far here in a moment. For now, our first player has chosen to stop. Since player 1 has chosen to stop, it is time to collect, and they get to choose first. So looking at these columns, we have one 7-point column, a second 7-point column, and an 8-point column. So our player is going to go ahead and take the 8-point column. These cards are then added to your bench. Your bench is a layout of cards you've collected face up, organized by color. From there, continuing left around the table, each player gets to choose one column to keep. So we'll have player 2 collect the 6 and the 1. And we'll have player 3 collect this 6 and 1. If your game contains more than 3 players, there will be players who don't get to collect cards during a turn, and that's okay. Now, it is possible in a 2 or 3 player game for everyone to have had the chance to collect cards from the table, and there still be cards remaining. Those cards are discarded. The person who is taking their turn does not get a chance to collect more cards. And if they were penalized by pushing too far, they especially do not get the chance to collect cards from the table. Again, those are just removed and put in the discard pile. Once all the columns have been collected, play passes left. Play will always be passed left during this game. The only thing that might change directions is the order that columns are collected, and we're going to see how that works during this turn. So, player 2 is up. They begin their turn by drawing cards and creating columns. So they drew a purple 2. They just drew a switch card. We will resolve that switch card at the end of the turn. Until then, it is placed above the draw pile. Yellow 6 This purple 1 cannot be placed in the same column with the purple 2. This yellow 1 cannot be placed in the first or second column. The blue 4 can be put in any of the columns. And we've just drawn a rule card. So a rule card can be placed in any column that does not already contain a rule card. The rules are the same regarding this for pushing too far. If you happen to have rule cards in all 3 columns and you're drawing another one, you are unable to play it, so you've pushed too far. And again, we'll see how that works here in a little bit. For now, we're going to go ahead and add this card to the middle column. Draw one more time. We got a yellow 5. It cannot be placed in the column with the yellow 6 or the yellow 1. It must be placed here. And our player is going to stop. So again, they get to choose which column they want to collect first, and they will take this first one. Normally, the turn for collecting columns would pass to the left. However, we drew a switch card. So for this round, it's going to go right. So player 1 here on the right side of the screen actually gets to choose next. And they're going to go ahead and just take this 1. That leaves player 4 up at the top of the screen with only one option. They take the column that has the roll card in it. When a column with the roll card is collected, that player must roll the die. Whatever color they roll forces them to discard any cards on their bench of that color. They had just collected a yellow 5, so that must be discarded. The roll card is also discarded, and at the end of the turn, any switch cards that were drawn are discarded. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the switch cards is if more than one switch card is played, then the direction of collection switches. So because we only drew 1, collection went counterclockwise. However, if we would have drawn another one, that would have essentially canceled them out and collection would have went clockwise again. If we would have drawn a third one, it would have went counterclockwise, and so on. There is a rule variant I would like to point out. You can play a little meaner. If you play with this variant, the black star does not keep you safe, and it becomes the most dangerous thing to roll. So with the meaner variant, if you roll the black star, you have to get rid of everything from your bench. All the cards. The only cards you would not remove are the ones that are safe in the bank. After the player completes their turn, play passes left. Let's go ahead and get into player 3's turn, and we're going to see what happens when a player pushes too far. So again, they start their turn, and we are just going to have them draw recklessly until they push too far. Red 3, red 5, red 5, ooh, purple 5, red 1, and they're done. This red 1 cannot be placed in any of the 3 columns. The card that is drawn that made you push too far is discarded. You immediately roll the die and discard any color that you roll. So I have to discard my purple 6. And then you do not collect a stack. You don't collect from the columns. It is a really bad thing to push too far. So we did not draw any switch cards. Collection goes to the left. This player is going to go ahead and take the 8-point column. Our player at the top of the screen will collect the red 5, and our player over here on the right side of the screen will collect a red 5. There are no columns left to collect, but if this was only a 3-player game or a 2-player game, there would be cards left potentially to collect. If that occurs, the player who pushes too far still does not get any cards. Those cards are simply discarded. That ends the player's turn. Let's go ahead and play one more example turn. For this final example turn, we need to talk about banking cards. There is a way to keep your cards safe from the roll die during the game. On your turn, instead of drawing cards from the draw pile, you can choose to bank. And what that means is you pick one color from your bench and you will bank those cards. So our player will pick purple, and they'll come down here and start their bank pile. These cards are placed face down, and they are safe from the die. You never have to discard these cards. Only cards that are face up on the bench are at risk of being discarded. At the end of the game, you will earn points for your bench cards and your bank cards. But keep in mind the trade-off is you're not getting to collect any more points. You're simply making the points you've already collected safe. That ends this player's turn. They bank their purple cards. Let's go ahead and move to the end of the game. So here we are, fast forwarded to the end of the game. Play continues until the draw pile runs out of cards. At that point, players will choose columns like normal. So here we'll have this player take this column. Player to the left takes this. And our player at the top of the screen takes the 4. The game has officially ended. Now it's time to tally up your score. To do that, you go through all of your bench cards and all of your banked cards and add up the points. The player with the most points at the end of the game is the winner. And that's how to play Push. If you have any questions about gameplay, leave them down below in the comment section and I will do my best to help you out and answer them. If you found this video helpful and you'd like to support Game Rules, the best thing you can do is subscribe, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, and of course, leave a comment down below. All of those things really help us out. If you would like to watch more card game tutorial videos, I got a playlist for you right here. And I think that's about it for today. So until next time, keep on playing.